Yeah, so my name is Rolf. I am from Germany, Frankfurt, and I've been trading Forex for 10 years. I got introduced into trading when I was 15, so that's like 17 years ago. And 6 years ago, I quit my job. I worked in finance. I was always trading on the side, but then I just made the decision, okay, now it's the time. I was still young, and then I quit my job, sold everything I had, bought a one-way ticket to Thailand, and yeah, I've been traveling around Asia. During the summer, I was coming back to Europe, and that's what I've been doing for 5 years, always trading Forex, futures a little bit, and CFDs.
So, I'm from Germany too, and 30 years old now, and then I've been in the trading business or money betting business for 10 years now, since 2006, 12 years actually. And I was a poker player and did that professionally. So I paid for my university with poker money and everything. And then Black Friday came around once, and that's basically where the government of America took away all my money for money laundering allegations. I got back the money later, but at that time I was basically out of a job. So I moved to China and started working for a bigger corporation after finishing my studies. And that wasn't for me, so I was looking for a more regulated market in poker, where I was like 95% sure that I wouldn't lose all my money in one night, and that was trading. So I focused on my trading career and then quit my job 2 years later, and have been doing that since 5 years roughly now. And I got back the money later from my poker career, so that really helped in bankrolling my trading career. And I've also been living in China, Asia, Hong Kong, Thailand, and so on for the last years, and now also moved back to Germany because we want to open an office location there together. And half year after we met for the first time, we started the business together because we knew we would. It was just like obvious that we could work together. So.
My first question is for you, Moritz, because was it hard to swap from poker to trading?
There are some basic skills that you can take from poker and directly apply to trading. A lot of the psychological stuff, probability theory, game theory, risk management, stuff like that. So that was a very short learning curve for me. And on the other side, it was quite easy for me to get into the technical aspects of trading as well, because I knew that I already had the process figured out how to get very quickly into a topic from poker. So I would say it was much easier for me to get into trading than for a person who has never before done anything in regards to betting money on probabilities. So in poker, the higher the stakes, the better your opponents, right? And in trading, it doesn't matter whether you trade 0.1 Forex lots or you trade 10 lots or whatever, you always play against the same players, unless you get into regions where you're really like having liquidity troubles. But besides that, the game always stays the same, right? So that's much easier to scale up in trading than in poker.
Rolf, because you already have some finance experience, right? Before Thailand, before moving full time in trading, and do you agree with Moritz that learning from the scratch, learning from ground zero, is easier than to change your habits?
Yeah, I think what I really liked on my background in finance, it's not really applicable. You cannot just take the skills there, but the general idea, how you approach a topic, really helps you. Especially also, I think, because young people always ask me, young traders, oh, I'm in university or I'm in college, should I quit my college and concentrate on being a full-time trader? And I said, no, absolutely never do that. You need your degree. It's very, very important. And it's not so much about the degree itself, although it gives you a little bit stability and flexibility later. But I think when you are in university, what really helped me in I eventually got my master's in international finance. What really helped me is that you learn to organize yourself. You learn how to learn. You learn because in university, nobody cares in the end if you're really learning or if you're doing good. It's you're doing it for yourself essentially. And in trading, it's very, very similar because nobody cares in the end if you're making money, if you're losing money. So you really have to do it for yourself. You have to force yourself to sit down. You say, okay, now I'm going to learn my system. I'm going to enter all my trades in my journal. I know it's boring, it's not fun, but it's just what I have to do in university. You just have to sit down, you have to study, you have to remember the things even if you don't find it super interesting all the time, but it's just the things you have to do. And that's really a good thing. And if you think about quitting your college, don't do that. Do it. You do your studies and try to use that as well as a way of becoming a better person. And then this will transition not only in trading, but helps you in many other areas, in sports and just anything where you need discipline, and everywhere you basically need discipline.
Mm-hmm. How long took you to move from, I don't know, from scratch, right, to profitable trader?
So I started Forex so I was introduced, because I'm from Frankfurt, like it's the biggest banking city in Frankfurt, in Germany. And I was introduced through my family into stock trading. I was fascinated that you can just sit at home, watch the screen, and then make money. Especially I was 15 when I discovered it. And then back then I was carrying out newspapers, and it was really a bad job. You had to go out in the cold, in the rain, and you get just a little bit of money. But then I realized, I saw that you can sit at home, look at the screen, and you see like you can buy a piece of Nike or McDonald's, and then if it goes up, you also make a lot of money without having to do the hard work. That was quite cool. And then later on I got into Forex. I was seeing good results, but I was stuck in my job as well. I had a very, very good career outlook in a very, very good company. And then I said, well, yeah, if I was 26, I had good results, but either I do this trading now and really risk it and focus really on building myself, or I go the same path like so many other in the company. I always talk to people who are like 50, 60. I told them, I have this idea of quitting my job and traveling the world, doing what I like. And the people always said, oh yeah, I always had the same dream. I wanted to do the same, not only specific about trading, but just doing something they really liked. But then said, I just said I was going to work maybe 2 or 3 years more, have a little bit more saving. But then, of course, most people don't do it. Then they have a family and a house, and then it's impossible to leave. So that was really a warning signal for me, where I saw many people had the idea of doing it, but they were not doing it, and then later on they regretted a lot. And I didn't want to end up when I was 50 and look back and say, I could have done it. I could have traveled the world, but I didn't do it. So I took the risk, and I moved especially to Southeast Asia because it allows you to have a pretty good lifestyle for a very, very small cost, which then also helps you a lot with the psychology and trading. You don't have to make a lot of money every month, especially I was a few years out of university. Of course, after university, I always work, but you don't have like a 7-figure account. So you have to start small, you have to build it slowly and slowly. So that was a very good way for me to scale down my living expenses, have still a good life, be able to focus on trading only, and then slowly build up. And that's what helped me on my journey.
How long have you been living abroad?
I think it was just under 5 years. So I started first 2 years. I was pretty much moving every 7 to 10 days. I was moving from a new city to a new city. I started in Vietnam, and then I moved all the way through Vietnam, and then into Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, then all the way down to Malaysia, Indonesia, Bali. And in the summer, I would always come back because I really don't like the cold. So in the summer, I was staying mostly in Europe. Like I like to travel in Italy or Spain, Greece. And then in the winter, when it's getting cold in Europe, I was always going back in Asia.
I moved to China in 2012, so roughly 6 years as well. Yeah, and most of the time I was in China actually. Love the country, love the food, love the people. Yeah. I especially got tired of the last year I was living in Southeast Asia in Thailand, and I got especially tired of the lack of comfort there. I want to say, like, it's totally, if you come from Germany, everything always works, and there is a lot of chaos going on. I mean, it's a beautiful country and great people and great food and so on, but it's just, for me as a German, it's really hard to adapt to the lifestyle there. And if you go there for holidays, it might be awesome, right? You think, oh yeah, there are no rules, that's great, and no one cares what I do. But after a year or so, you're just really craving the order. Maybe that's a little bit a German problem. I'm not sure, you know. But yeah, so in the future, actually, I want to live half of my life in China or Hong Kong and the other half in Germany, at least as long as my parents are still on this earth. And then after they left, I will probably move my whole life to China. Emotion-wise, trading is much easier for me than playing poker because I don't see the guy who just took my money.
Oh yeah,
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because in poker, someone can play horribly and still win the hand. I mean, that's just how it works in gambling or in trading, also probabilities, right? But then I have to give my money to that guy, and he is smiling at me, and he is maybe saying nice hand, and that would really like get me boiling, my blood boiling. But in trading, I don't care at all. Like if I can very objectively assess that the trade I just lost was a good trade or a bad trade, whether I made a good decision or a bad decision, and I can very objectively assess whether my trading is good or bad. So no psychological problems at all in trading compared to poker. After I came from online poker, I was mostly a day trader, because in online poker I was playing 9 to 20 tables at the same time, so I had constant action. It's like 5,000 hands a day. That translates to 20,000 clicks in a day, and constant decision making and so on. And then you come to trading, and then trading tells you that you have to sit there for 3 hours, look at the screen and do nothing. It was really hard for me. That was one of the hardest parts. So what I did was I simply started looking at 20 different Forex pairs on the 1 minute chart, and I started trading like crazy, right? And I did that for a long time, and it started to work out actually. So I was I moved up to the 5 minute charts eventually, but I was a day trader for a long time. And right now I'm having less and less time to do that, because it takes at least 6 hours a day, plus preparation and aftermarket analysis and so on. So it's a full-time job. Anyone else who tells you can do day trading and without it being a full-time job, I think they don't know what they're talking about. That's what I think, right? That's how it worked for me. So I'm slowly moving away from day trading more into longer-term stocks trading. That's because I still want to do other things with my life rather than only Forex day trading. Yeah.
It's just it was not enough for me, especially in university. I always like to do, I studied international finance, and I did a lot of research, and I wrote papers, and I did something at the end. You had something where you can say, wow, I did this now. And it was the same in a job where when I worked in corporate finance, it was not so bad. At least what I really liked that when you had a project, at the end of the project, you can say, see, that's what I did. That's the benefits are here. But in trading, you sit alone in front of your computer all day long, then you make a good trade, and then you say, yeah, but nobody's here. I'm just here by myself. Nobody cares in the end. And after 10 years or 5 years, you don't have anything really to show for it. So I really liked writing a lot, and I wrote always for myself. So I said, maybe I just start a blog. And in the beginning, I just wrote about anything that come to my mind. I just started writing, and I put it on the website, Tradeciety. And then over time it became more and more, and I like to see it grow. And other people messaged me and said, I like this stuff. And then every time I got an email or a message that said, it helped me, then I try to put a little bit more work and try to make it nicer. And so then it grew and grew and grew until I met Moritz, and then and here we are today. And I think it's very important. I see that with many people who got into trading. After some years, they realize trading is not really what they thought it would be. It's not about Lambos and Ferraris and private yachts. But then after 10 years, they say, wow, I'm just sitting here in my office alone by myself. Nobody's recognizing what I'm really doing. So they are not really happy. So what I really think is great, like a middle way where you have maybe not even a job, but something that you really like to do. You can do that. And trading allows you to have like a income where you can then don't have to worry about other things. So you have your trading at one side where you have some income stream, and then you can really do what you love. Other people, some people that we work together with, they really like their job that they're actually doing. One guy was I think like a psychologist. He really liked to work with the people, and then he had his trading where he could make some money at the side, and then in his psychology job, he could hire other people that were doing the things that he was less interested in. So he had more time for the fun things, and that's then very good connection, and that's where really I think trading is a very, very cool way how you can supplement your income, and that, yeah.
Both of you are first time in Krakow, I presume, and on FXCuffs. How do you feel about it? How do you know about FXCuffs in the first place, and why did you choose to visit us?
Yeah, so I think Christoph first reached out to me from Comparic, and because he liked what we are doing on Tradeciety, and then he said, can we use your articles for our Polish community? I think they will really enjoy that too. And I said, yeah, sure, if we can help some trader from another country, sure. And that's how I got to know, and then we always stayed in contact. And when you guys were in Thailand, we met for a coffee in Bangkok, and then we talked about pretty much everything, and you talked to me about this event here, and yeah, that's then here now. I think we're almost like almost a year later now. Yeah, we're here, and it was really cool. The first day today, and we met a lot of people who knew us only from social media, and they came to us. And yeah, I always like to see, again, because trading is very lonely, and also when you're on social media, even though we have a few followers, you never really know who's behind that. So it's really cool. I had a few drinks with people yesterday already, and it was really a fun time. And that's really what also is Tradeciety is really fun for. You can meet people like in real life, you have a nice connection, and then yeah, you'll have a good relationship then.
Moritz, do you agree?
I'm having a great time here. It's not the first time for me in Krakow, but also definitely not the last time. Yeah, I'm having a great time. Yesterday we had 45 pierogi. We almost finished them. I love the food here, and the people are nice, and the event is truly well organized. So I'm looking forward to a few lectures tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for having us.
Today is a big gala, FXCuffs. You are giving away a statue, the Cuffs, right? And how do you feel about it?
I just heard about it like 20 minutes ago, and yeah, I'm honored, and I'm looking forward to it. It's really cool. The people are super nice here, and yeah, I had a fun talk. I've never spoken in front of so many people, so that was exciting. It was fun, and yeah, it was a very, very great experience.
Well, but you did a couple of videos, right? And those are quite popular. Yeah.
So my videos, sometimes they have like 70, 80,000, but when I record them, I'm just in my office at home. So, and if I talk something stupid, I will just go to my Camtasia and cut it out. But here, it's no second chance. But it was fun. I think it's a good experience. It's a good test I did so many videos on my YouTube, and yeah, I think it helped me. Yeah. So I like to trade also a little bit higher time frames, especially because I'm not very good at, not like Moritz used to be good at fast decision making. I tried it at the beginning because as so many people, they like the lower time frames because there's so many action. You could make some money potentially, but it did not really work for me because I was always screwing up very badly when you have to make like so many trades, and then you lost the trade, but you still have to focus on the next one. So eventually I moved to like 4 hour and the daily time frame now. And I would not call it reversal trading because people always think when you say, oh, you're a reversal trader, you're trying to predict what is going to happen before it happens. You're trying to call the top or the bottom. And that's not really what I do. I trade like patterns, I like trend line breaks or a little bit different ideas of head and shoulders. And those where the market goes from an uptrend to a downtrend or from a downtrend to an uptrend, that's where I really like to trade, where the market goes from one side to the other. And I think those are very, very I find it very interesting as well, where you can see before you have many more buyers, the buyers are slowly leaving the market, but the sellers are taking over. So you can really see those little areas where then slowly the markets are turning, the buyers are leaving, the sellers are coming in, and you can really find those on your charts if you know what to look for. Yeah, and that's what I do. I trade mostly Forex, some CFDs and futures as well, but mostly it's like 85-90% is Forex, yeah.
Moritz, you have faster fingers than Rolf, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So for my day trading, it is based on classic charting principles and trend following. So it is basically a breakout strategy, but where my edge really comes from is from looking at all the pairs at once and picking up on the strength in the market or weakness. So when I see USD yen and Aussie yen moving at the same time and some other yen pairs, for example, I know that the strength is in the yen. And then I look at all the yen pairs I'm trading right now and pick the best setup, really, which gives me the best potential risk-reward ratio. And that's where I then get in, for example. That's really where my edge comes from. If you would trade this strategy on a single chart without looking at the overall market, it wouldn't work. Right? Yeah. That's really where I excel. After many years of looking at the charts each day for hours, and you just get this feeling. I mean, you could also use a currency strength meter as an indicator, for example. Some people in our forum do that. But the best traders I know, they basically use technicals and fundamentals and put them together into one trading strategy. And for me, the fundamentals are simply currency strength, which currency is moving right now. In the beginning, the risk reward for day traders is really low. So your risk is incredibly high. Your risk is basically the resources, the time, the money you put in, and the potential reward is your profitability, right? So in the beginning, you should study a lot more than you trade. But as a day trader, you put a lot more time into trading than studying. So as a beginner, I would really recommend to everyone to start out in the higher time frames. Study as much as you can, and then focus on one style, and then you can still go down to the lower time frames and see whether that is for you, right? That is what I advise almost all the people that ask me this question, except for when I know they are ex-poker players. Then I tell them, okay, try day trading first, see what happens.
Rolf, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. But what I like to add is that what Moritz said, I really want to stress that you don't go from one system to the next. I know many beginners do that, where they have a losing trade and they see, oh, if I just use another indicator on that trade, I would not have got the loss. So the next trade, they will use the indicator. Obviously, then probably you not have very good results. Then maybe the next trade you will win, but then eventually you will have another loser, maybe 2 or 3 trades later, and then you'll say, oh, but I should have used another indicator. And then you're always in the system hopping thing. And that's really where the traders completely destroy their trading, because they're always in this reaction mode. Then they look back at their trading. They cannot really understand why did I lose money. They just see that I always lose money, and they don't have any consistency. But if you follow one system, then even though you don't see good results in the beginning, obviously, at least you can see some patterns in your trading. You can see, okay, I suck at letting my traders, my winning trades run. I'm quite okay with cutting my losing trades. So I need to focus on this one thing. But if you're always changing stuff and always every trade looks different, then you will never be able to understand why you're actually losing and where are the problems, where are your strengths. So that's really, I think, important for beginning traders. Don't worry so much about the results. Just try to understand where you're strong, where you're weak, and then build slowly over time. And have a lot of patience. Most, like we can see here, there are a lot of younger guys, like in their 30s, maybe early 30s, and they always want it now. I was like this when I was trading. When I started, was like early 20s, and I said, I want it now. I want a big car. I want a nice house. I don't want to work. I just want it now. And then, but I realized even if I put in 10 years when I'm 22, I will still be like what I'm now. I'm 32 now, and I still have 40 years ahead of me. So even if I take the 10 years where I really try to become good, it still will be worth it when I'm 32. So even though it takes 10 years, even when you're 40, when you get there, it still be worth it. Whereas what is the alternative really? You probably will not get there eventually or at all, and then you will just have wasted time and you still have nothing to show for. Yeah. So really, patience is everything.
What can we expect from both of you in next couple of months, couple of years?
Oh, I think you can expect quite a lot. I'm writing a book actually now because I see that our articles are quite popular and the people like the way how we look at the charts, how we break it down in very easy to understand things. That's not very common in trading. When I talk to people, they even don't really understand what the indicator is doing. They only think, oh, an indicator is lagging, it's not good. But then I ask, have you ever looked at an indicator formula, for example? Then they don't really understand what the indicator is doing. Same when they use price action or pin bar, they don't really understand what it really is. They're just trying to, they follow the textbook, the conventional textbooks, where it's all very like a template thinking. There's no creativity. You don't look very deep at what you're actually doing as a trader. So yeah, I am almost done with the book, a few more weeks, and then will be cool. And then we want to do more like the live seminars because Tradeciety is nice and doing videos is cool, and we have students online. But what really is interesting is when you can really see the people in front of you, you have a connection with them, you can help them in person, then in the night you can have a drink with them, talk about other things. There's much more to life than just trading. So that's really what we want to do. Have more connections and personal, and many things to come, I think.